Oh, I wanna be the one to hold you close, 'cause you're the only one I'm dreaming of. My love, my love, my love, my love.
How to love your partner the right way. How to love your partner the right way. So we really want to talk about that a little bit today,
let's
right?
talk about it.
Now, disclaimer for those that are watching. We're not implying that there's a wrong way, because some of y'all like, look, you don't know me. How you gonna
You
tell
don't know
me
my husband.
how to love
How you gonna tell me I ain't loving my man right?
Right. Now, of course, we don't know your personality, your relationship dynamics. We don't know who a lot of you are. So we're not implying that there's a wrong way, but we do believe that there's an effective way.
There is.
And a productive way to actually love your spouse or the person that you're
Absolutely.
actually in a committed relationship with.
Absolutely.
And here's the fact, guys, babe. Look, and just thinking of this, it's very extremely, tremendously, no, it's very possible to be loved by someone and not feel loved.
Absolutely.
It's very possible to be loved by someone and not really feel the love,
Yep.
because love isn't just defined by what we say, but love is also defined by our deeds. We can talk a good game, but we got to start to walk the game. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
very
Like,
true.
we can say, I love you, I love you, I love you. But if we're not demonstrating it through deeds or by what we do, it's hard for somebody to actually feel that word,
Absolutely.
feel that love that you say that you have for them, right?
Absolutely.
And I hear a lot of people, I don't want to say I hear a lot of people, but through, trying to be mentors to people and trying to really help people in their relationships, you hear people talk about some of the problems that they're having.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say things like, he's doing this or she's doing that and they turn me off. But do you guys know that just like a person can turn you off in certain areas, there's a strong possibility, or it's factual, that you can be turned on as well.
That's what. Yeah.
Right. And some people might be thinking sexually, like, yeah, turn me on,
Turn
baby.
it on,
We're not just
baby.
talking about sexually, but we can actually be turned on, right?
Yes.
Right. Because humans or people, we have triggers and we have buttons, right? And if those buttons or triggers or needs aren't being met, sometimes we malfunction,
That's true.
and sometimes we don't feel loved. You can say it and say it and say it and say it, but if you don't demonstrate it in a way to where it's translated emotionally or where it's tangible, sometimes we don't know that we're actually loved, right?
That's good.
So tonight we're talking about how to actually be effective.
That's good, honey.
To effectively love your partner, right?
Yeah.
Right. So check this out here, babe. Talk about what we're going to cover today with the languages.
So we're going to cover a variety of love languages. There are actually 5. We're going to go over acts of service.
Right.
We're going to go over physical touch. We're going to go over words of affirmation. We're going to go over the person who loves to receive gifts. And we're also going to go over, what's that last one, babe?
Acts of service. Did you say
I
that?
said acts of service.
Acts
Yep.
of service.
What's the last one? Words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and quality time.
Quality time.
That's
Quality
what it
time.
is. Quality time.
Right,
How can I
right.
forget? That's me all day.
Right. But where did we get these actual languages from?
So we got these from the author Gary Chapman. He is the author of the world-renowned book titled The 5 Love Languages.
And go and get it, guys. Google the 5 love languages. It's on Amazon. I think it's about $8. Look, it's probably one of the best investments that you can invest
it really
in your
is,
relationship.
especially when you're in a relationship, even with your
Right.
children or friends, family. It's a really good book because it's a series of books, and it talks about love languages in all forms of relationships. Anyway, his book is a relationship book regarding human relationships. He sold over 13 million copies.
Wow.
Worldwide. Okay. His message has been improving relationships for over 30 years. So this isn't anything new. This just didn't come out yesterday. This psychology is, it has been years in the making, and it has helped a ton of people. So again, go out, grab the book, read it with your spouse, go over it, practice it,
Yes.
and watch how your love life and your love for one another grows because of it.
Right. And it's called The Five Love Languages.
The
and it's
Five Love
by
Languages. Gary Chapman.
So The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. So we
Yes.
wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
Now, we're not really going through the content in the book. We just wanted to present some of these languages, because here's a fact about love languages. Love languages aren't wants, they're actually needs.
They are.
A lot of us are hardwired a certain way, and we have these needs in order for us to function properly. And when we don't get these particular needs met, a lot of people talk about, sexual needs and financial needs, but these are actual like emotional, or these are things that actually cause you to function properly.
Right.
It's kind of like the one on physical touch, is even proven throughout history. Like babies that aren't touched, they could possibly die.
Yes, they do.
So if they don't have that affection, or that touch, or feel that love, they actually can get up out of here.
Yeah.
So these
Did you say they can get up out of here?
they can get up out of here. Well, I don't know where they're going, but they can get up out of here, right?
No, but that is true. There
Yes.
are plenty of studies, especially like overseas. I believe it was like in India or something like that, where they did a study on abandoned children or children in foster care, and orphan children, excuse me. And it was a ton of orphan children that had never been hugged or loved, and because of it, they began to die. Some of them began to go mute. They wouldn't speak, and
Wow.
they would begin to rock to soothe themselves. And again, they would eventually die off because of the lack of physical touch. So just knowing how important that love language is, or knowing how important love languages is, we can prevent our spouse from dying on the inside,
Right.
if we just begin to speak their language.
Right. And again, love languages aren't wants, they are actual needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we don't have that need, or we don't understand that language because it might be a little foreign to us, we disregard it.
Yeah.
Or we might belittle it and feel as if it's not significant.
Right.
But just because it isn't your need doesn't mean that it isn't your partner's
Right,
need.
right.
So it's important that if you're in a relationship and you don't like to spend quality time, or you think that it's not necessary, just because it's not important to you doesn't mean that it's not important to them.
Yeah.
And these things aren't just wants, they are actual needs in order for this thing to function. Just like a car need gas to go.
Yeah.
People need certain things demonstrated in their lives to feel love.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we'll say, I love you, and we do, but we actually have to demonstrate it in a way,
Yes.
or to where it's understood by them.
By them,
right?
yes,
Right?
yep.
Because have you ever watched a Chinese movie and it's like you like to see the film, you like to see the action and all that, but as they speak, you don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
You get frustrated. So when a person needs aren't being met as far as their love language, they can actually malfunction or get frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to learn as partners to be a little more sensitive to their desires or their actual
Yes,
needs,
their actual
and not
needs.
disregard that, because
Right.
you can say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. But if you aren't demonstrating love through these languages, they actually won't feel it.
They
right?
won't feel
so it's
it.
important that we actually feel
they
that,
won't
right?
feel it. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree 100% with that.
Absolutely. And this is another point too, babe. When our languages aren't spoken, we get frustrated. Anybody get frustrated? Anybody have ever been in a relationship or might be in a relationship to where, you get frustrated because you have a desire or a need or a language that isn't spoken to you. And that can cause people to get angry.
It can. It can cause people to get angry. It can
Right.
cause you to be frustrated. It can cause you to feel neglected, underappreciated, not wanted. It can cause you to feel unheard, unsatisfied or dissatisfied. It can cause you to feel so many different emotions
Right.
when your emotional love language is not being met.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's important that we figure out what our spouse's love language is, because we need to make sure that they are they're feeling what's necessary for you guys to grow and for them to feel loved.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Because they will question your love.
Yeah.
They deep down in their mind, they know that you love them.
Right.
They don't think that you don't love them or you hate them or whatever, but they don't feel that you love them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and feeling and thoughts are different. You know, you can think one thing and feel another thing.
Absolutely.
They know that it's factual, that you love them.
Baby, that's
Yes.
good because people don't know that you can think one thing and feel another thing.
Yes.
Because people often think if they feel a certain way or if they think a certain way, that's just how it is. And the truth
Right.
of the matter is that's not true.
No, it's not
just
true.
because you think something doesn't mean that you necessarily feel it. Or just
Right.
because you feel something doesn't necessarily mean you think it.
Right.
And we got to know the difference between the two and that they're not always they don't always go together.
Right.
Our thoughts and our feelings.
Right.
Even though we would want them to, but they don't always mesh well together.
Right, right. And there's
You
a
know?
thing in psychology that's called cognitive dissonance. You know, it's like you think one thing or you might demonstrate something differently and it confuses your mind. It makes you feel depressed. It can make you feel frustrated. It's like a belief. If you actually feel that you believe something, you believe that you can be successful or marriage should be a certain way, and if what's demonstrated is the contrary, it actually causes you to be psychologically frustrated, and it can
confused.
actually throw you off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, so it is important, like, if you're in a relationship, that we don't be lazy, you know, that we actually try to discover, which we did a poll the other day about love languages. And
Yeah.
can you go over the 5 again so people can understand some of these
Yeah.
languages? And I'm telling you guys, get this book. It'll be very effective for your relationship because we all speak. I mean, I don't want to say we all speak different languages, but a lot of us, we speak different languages,
We do.
right?
Yeah, a lot of us.
Right.
we do
Some
speak
people
different
like
languages.
acts of service, like to be served. That's how they feel that they're loved. A lot of men might interpret that as respect. When a woman is serving them, when she give them food, and when he's watching the game and she's like, "Here, baby, I got a hamburger for you." He actually feel loved.
Yeah.
You know, some people actually need or want that quality time. They
Yeah.
feel that they feel special when you hold their hand
Yeah.
and you take them places, or even if you sit with them on the couch and just say, "You know what, baby, I'm gonna just watch this show with you."
Yeah.
You know, and then you have words of affirmation where people are built up.
Yeah.
Where people say, "Baby, you look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You are great. You know, I love you. Look at your daddy out there going to work. Isn't he the man?"
Yeah.
You know, and you have
Yeah.
gifts. People are just ignited or they light up based upon gifts. Like, "Look, baby, I bought you this purse."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
things like that. You know what
So
I'm saying?
let's
So
go-
go
let's
over them
go
one more
over
time.
it,
For
yeah.
those that are just now joining us, we're talking about how to love your partner the right way, and we're introducing the 5 love languages, which are
Quality time,
quality time,
physical touch,
physical touch,
acts of service,
acts of service,
words of affirmation,
words of affirmation.
and what was the last one? Why do I keep forgetting one? How do I keep doing that? No, I said them all.
Well, so do them again.
Where we
Do
at?
'em again. Let's go from the top. We have
So we got quality time, words of affirmation,
affirmation.
gifts,
gifts,
acts of service, and physical touch.
and physical touch.
I just need to read my notes, y'all. Then I won't forget, right?
Right. So let's ask the audience, do you guys know your love language? Or have you ever taken the test to know? Or do you pretty much, know by us actually introducing these to you? Can you name them one more time so that
Yes.
people in the comments can actually put it down?
So we have quality time,
So if your love language is quality time, put quality time,
words of affirmation,
words of affirmation,
gifts,
gifts,
acts of service, and physical touch.
and physical touch. So we want to give you guys an opportunity to put in the comment section, what do you believe or what do you know to be your love
language.
Now, of course, you can have multiple love languages.
Absolutely.
But it's one that's actually on the top of that
Yeah,
mountain.
there's one that's dominant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a dominant one.
Yes.
So let's go over quality time.
Yes.
So the love language is quality time. The love language is all about undivided attention. No television, no smartphone, or any other distractions. If this is your partner's primary language, they don't just want to be included during this period of time. They want to be the center of your attention. They want their partners to look at them and them only.
Wow.
You get it?
We're going to have to get something a little different. I'm trying to eat.
Stop trying to eat.
But they, people always say, "What? The food is getting cold. You guys need to eat." So for those that want me to eat, I'm going to eat a little bit tonight. All right.
So quality time is all about spending time with someone and having their undivided attention. If quality time is your love language, Like for me, quality time is my love language.
And mine as well.
Yeah, I love to spend time with Steve. Now, for me, I don't have to have Steve's undivided attention when we have our quality time. I just want him to be present in the room.
Right.
Okay.
And
So for
that's-
me,
yeah.
quality time is just a wee bit different. For Steve, on the other hand, he wants my undivided attention. He wants me to look him in the eyes.
Right.
He wants to know that I'm paying attention. He wants me to communicate back with him.
Right.
You know, so he knows that I'm actually listening to what he's saying. He loves all of those things. Eye contact, like I have to verbally
Right.
be there. I have to mentally be there because sometimes I'm not always mentally there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make myself available to be mentally there for him
Right.
when we have quality time with one another.
Right, but yours is different.
Yes.
And hers is a little weird. You know how they say they are different like languages, but different dialects?
Yes.
Hers is a little different from mine because she doesn't care if we communicate. She just like me sitting on the couch right next to her, not saying anything while she do whatever she wants to do. And I'm like, look, this is time, but it ain't quality to me.
I just like his presence.
She likes my presence.
I like
right.
his presence. I like him being with me. I like him existing with me.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's very different because again, we don't have to communicate when we're sitting next to one another.
Right.
We don't have to do anything. I just want you. So I enjoy that portion of quality time. And it still needs to just be he and I, because that's important. Like
Right.
we can have family quality time and I'll be like, man, we haven't spent any time together.
Right. We can go and do something and she'll be like, we didn't spend any time together. And I'm like, well, we were
We was
together
just
for
together
4
for like
hours. I don't
17
really know.
hours.
Right. But there, look, time isn't created equal.
It isn't.
You know, and when we say quality time, we really have to understand how does that translate with your partner?
Right.
You know, because I remember there have been moments to where we would be together and you would say that like, we didn't spend no time together. And I'm like, well,
Like, girl, you
we've been to the
crazy.
grocery store, you know, we got a little lunch and you wanted a little more. And I'm like, well, I thought that we spent a little time together. What else you want a brother to do? You know, but I'm like that. I think that it isn't created equal. Time isn't created equal. And what I define as quality is being intimate, you know, not intimate sexually, but emotionally, or we connect on an intellectual level, you know, where we can talk. And I don't really need the physical part of it, but I love the physical part of it because physical touch is my number 2 love language. However, I just want to, you know, I want your attention. I want your undivided.
Yeah.
Listen, if we spending time together, you better make this worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know.
So if
Right.
you have a partner that really loves quality time, you want to be sure that you are being attentive.
Yes.
You know, when you guys are spending quality time together, you want to make sure that, like they said, put your smartphone down, put the
Yeah.
phone down, pay attention. You know, rephrase what they're saying to you in your own words so that they know you're listening.
Right.
You know, communicate back is so important. You know,
Very
make
important.
eye contact, be present and in the moment, not just your presence like I like, but be present with
Right.
the person that desires quality time, because that's how they feel loved.
Right. And we got to, what's dangerous in our relationships is, well, I can speak for me.
Okay.
I had this weird mindset
Mm-hmm.
that people were the same.
Really?
And I thought that people were, it was unconscious. It was a subconscious or unconscious thought. Like everybody is kind of like me. Like if I like a certain thing, I would think that you like a certain thing.
Right.
And if you liked a certain thing and I thought it was silly or stupid, I would think that my thoughts are right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I
So,
get
and it's
it,
crazy.
yeah.
I want to share this story with you guys. I think if we were married maybe about 5, maybe 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and well, before I go into the story, your language could be determined by your wiring or your upbringing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and some of us has been in relationships with our parents or grown up in certain households or certain cultures
Yeah.
to where certain languages are foreign to us. Like the language of gifts, it was foreign to me. But I didn't know that initially in the beginning of our relationship, because love languages do change with time, correct?
Yep.
And I remember that when it came to gifts, it was a foreign language to me. So I didn't understand it. So I couldn't process it. But I remember, man, we were on our way to Virginia with some of our friends to Virginia for a vacation. And we were talking about gifts. And my family, we didn't really give gifts. We didn't really celebrate like that. You know, we knew that we loved one another, but the gifts didn't really translate, or that wasn't interpreted as love to us, right? But I remember you just started crying like in front of our friends. I'm like, what the heck is she crying for? And you was like, you know, you don't think about me here. You don't give me gifts. You don't give me. I'm like, what in the world? I'm embarrassed. I'm like, I'm a good man, you know. Look,
I just start crying though, like
you were talking about it,
It wa-
and you felt like I didn't care in that area. You knew that I
okay.
loved you.
I'm like, dang,
but
tell me
think about it.
this
You
thing.
knew on a cognitive level, but your love language was gifts. But I did not understand that.
right.
And therefore, when holidays and different days would come up, I didn't realize how valuable it was to you, and that
That's
would
good.
cause you to feel loved. Although you knew that I loved you because I covered a lot of ground. You know, I was
Right.
affectionate with you. There were a lot of things that I did do right, but in that area, I missed it. Not because I didn't mean to do it, but I wasn't wired that way, number one.
Right.
And because of my culture and my background or my native tongue, we didn't know that language.
Wow.
So I want to encourage you guys, look, just because it's not important to you or you don't understand their need doesn't mean that it's not an actual need.
Yep.
So we have to learn that language. If it's Chinese, metaphorically speaking, if it's Spanish,
Yeah.
metaphorically speaking, if she want words of affirmation to feel good about herself and her womanhood, guess what? We have to learn how to speak that
Gotta
language.
learn how to speak it.
Right?
Yeah. And we can't like we can't be like, oh, that ain't nothing. You
Yes.
know, oh, that's dumb. She tripping.
Right.
You know, like, oh girl, I do all of these things for you. I pay the bills, you know, I do this, I do that. But you still not speaking that person's language. So internally for them, it's not being translated as love.
Right, right.
You know, it's not being translated as affection. It's not being translated as you care. It's not being translated as I love you.
Right.
You know, because you're only giving what you want to give or how you feel like it should be given.
Right.
You know, and you're not thinking about how they want it
Right.
and how it's important for them to receive it.
Right. And that's why the topic was how to love your spouse or your partner the right way.
Yeah.
A lot of times we want to love them. We love them the way that we want to be loved.
Absolutely.
And we speak in our native tongue, you know, but she doesn't want that. Like the gifts doesn't make her feel significant.
Yeah.
But guess what? You saying, baby, you are so beautiful. I just love you.
And that's funny
right?
that Steve brought up that story because during that time, what I would do is I would love Steve the way I wanted Steve to love me.
Yeah.
So I would buy him things. I would
Yes,
give
yes.
him things like I would buy him cards. I would buy,
Yeah.
you know, go out and buy him shoes. I would go out and buy him just all types of stuff, games,
Oh, man,
whatever
it's
it
lovely
was
too,
that I
right.
would think that he wanted. I would go out and buy it because I wanted him to love me like that. And instead of just saying, hey, this is how I feel loved is when you do X, Y, and Z, I did the opposite. And I went out and I started speaking my love language to him.
Right.
But guess what? Me speaking my love language to him did absolutely nothing for him.
Right.
So I would give him stuff and he would be like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah, it
nice.
didn't really move me.
And then I would be like, what you mean that's nice? Like, do you,
Like, I done spent
I
$500
spent,
on you.
Okay, X, Y, and Z
oh,
on
thank
you.
you.
And you like, that's nice. And he would be
Right.
like, thank you, that's cool. And then it'd be like off in the corner somewhere.
Right.
But that would really offend me. But then I had to realize, like, hello, well, that's really not his language. So you can't be mad that
Right.
you're trying to put your love language off on somebody. So now I had to figure out what's your language.
Right. And we have to learn how to love one another the way that they want to be loved. Not
Right.
the way that they want, the way that they need to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember that these languages aren't wants, they are actually needs. They're
They're
actual
needs.
needs, excuse me. So we have to learn how to do it. And a lot of times when we're brought up a certain way or we're not wired a certain way, it can be uncomfortable. So
Yes.
that's why it's very important if you have a spouse or you have a partner or a significant other that you be a little patient with them as well.
Yeah.
Because some things aren't really comfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they don't understand it. They don't know how to do it, you know, and they belittle it or they might, they don't think that it's important because
Yeah.
it's not really important to them. And we just got to be careful. And really, it's called compromise and understanding, communication. And that's another thing that we need to really think about is that we always want them to know, you know? So like, take the assessment. If you don't know your love language, go on to 5 love languages quiz and take the quiz.
Yes.
You got to tell them like, babe, I feel this way. This is how I feel loved. You know, honey, look, I need you to let me know that you proud of me. You
Yeah.
know, I need that word of affirmation, or, hey, honey, you haven't touched me in weeks. I'm dying.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important that we don't disregard those feelings
Right.
because they are actually real, and that's how they interpret or define love. The brother isn't trying to be a male chauvinist. When you bring him a hamburger, he feel love.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the
that's
brother
true.
like, oh, you can't even serve me?
Yeah.
Acts of service, which is one of the 5 love languages. Oh, you can't serve me, which he defined as love, which men define respect with love.
Yeah.
You know, we
you
define
guys
respect with love. So if you respect us, we feel that you actually love us.
Yep.
So we can't disregard those feelings because they are actually real. And if you really want them to know, when you have the mind and the deeds, or the words and the deeds, when they come together, you can have a real good relationship,
You
right?
can. I agree with that.
Right?
Certainly.
So it's very important. Now, what
agree
are
with
some
that.
of the other ones, babe?
So we have, let's see here. We have acts of service.
Acts of service.
And no. Let's go over words of affirmation. Excuse me. So words of affirmation. If your partner has this as their love language, it expresses love with words that builds up your partner. Verbal compliments don't have to be complicated. The shortest and simplest praise can be the most effective.
Right.
So words of affirmation is so very important. That's
is.
my second highest love language is words of affirmation. And for me, words of affirmation is so important because it's almost like, there is compliments. It's telling me I did a good job. You know, it's building me up. You know, because every day we go out into the world, we don't always feel our best. We don't always feel like, oh, I can go and conquer the world. But you give me a pep talk. You know, you give me some affirmation and say, hey, you doing good.
Right.
You look good today. You about to go out there and kill it.
Right.
I see you.
So 10 purses can't amount to one significant compliment.
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. There's not a bag on the planet that'll make me feel as good as you giving me affirmations. There's not a pair of shoes on the planet that'll make me feel as good as you spending time with me and telling me I'm doing an amazing job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Telling me that I'm beautiful, or telling me, baby, I'm so proud of you. You know, you killing it at work. I'm watching you. You know, I see you.
Right.
You know, all of those things are important to me. Like going to buy me a purse, I can buy my own purse. You know what I'm saying? I see something in the mall that I want, I can buy it myself.
Right.
I don't really need you to buy those things for me. Although it's great when you do, that's just not my language. So when you buy them, it's like null and void. It's like, oh, that's nice.
And you respond to a certain level.
Right.
But it isn't translated
As
accurately
love.
as
It's not-
love
yeah, it's
to
not
you,
translated
right?
as
like,
love.
Wow, he really thought about me. Or
Right.
he really loved me. When he tell me that I'm beautiful, that I'm doing a good job, you
Right.
actually feel. And we're talking about feeling
It's the feeling
love,
of love.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's the feeling
Right.
of love.
Because like we said earlier, it's very possible for you to have somebody that love you deeply, but you don't feel that.
But
they
you don't
love
feel it.
right?
Yeah.
Right, because the mind and the emotions, they're different.
Yep.
You know, although they are the soul, but you can speak to somebody's mind, but they don't actually really feel it
They don't feel it,
internally,
yeah.
right? Right. But when they feel it, it's actually can be justified mentally. Like, so I would encourage anybody to just, if you find out the languages, just do it more, do as much as you can.
And you
right?
know how you can find out, like, you know how you can learn what your spouse's love language is? Listen to the stuff they complain about.
Right, because it's the opposite. The things that,
Like, listen to the stuff they tell you ain't doing.
right.
That's what they trying to tell you something.
Ooh-wee.
You might not be getting it. You're like, they always fussing. They always
Right.
complaining. No, they trying to tell you something.
Trying to tell you.
If I'm complaining when I walk in the house, like, why is it so dirty here? I mean, after I cook, y'all can at least put the dishes up.
Right.
Y'all can at least, you know what I'm saying, put the food away. That's like acts of service. Like,
Right.
I would like for you to help out a little bit more. I would
Right.
like for you to do some things around here. Or if your spouse is like a physical touch person and they like, yo, like you always pushing me off to the side. I'm trying to hug you. You don't like me? You know what I'm saying? But you don't
Right.
think I'm the stuff no more, you know? Like, think about it. Like, people tell you what they want. They telling you what their love language is. You just got to pay attention to it.
Right.
You got to pay really close attention, because when somebody's telling you something, they want you to do something different.
Right. Or
They
do the opposite of what.
Yeah,
right.
they want you to do something differently.
Right.
It's not just they just saying these things just to say them because you're getting on their last dang nerve. No, fool. They want you to they want you to
right.
do something differently. Like, hello, like, give me a hug in the morning.
Right.
You know, stare me in the eyes. Tell me that you love me. You know
And
what
we
I'm saying?
think that it's insignificant because we meet other needs or things that are, we meet our other obligations when it
Yeah.
comes to, especially men.
That's good, our
you
other
know,
obligations.
Obligations,
Yeah.
you know, like, he's like, what you mean? Like, I work all day. What you mean you want me to sit on the couch with you? You know, but
Yeah.
you're not saying that's almost like a given. Like, there are certain responsibilities as men and women that I think that are givens. They are necessities to the household.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about thriving financially or thriving as a unit in terms of growing together, but we're talking about more on a solical,
Right.
more on a fulfilling level, you know, to where you actually feel like, man, this is good. I feel alive.
Right.
And you know, when like I said earlier, when a car doesn't have gas, it won't go anywhere.
Right.
But the question is, do you like gas? You might say no, but does the car need gas to function?
Absolutely.
So it's important. If you got a spouse, look, we got to learn how to be considerate, and we got to learn how to. I know you're doing a lot. I know we do a lot. I know we try to do what we need to do to have good relationships. But a lot of times we can do too much of the stuff that's not really moving the needle. But if we put a little effort on the things that are most important,
Ooh,
we'll
baby.
see our relationship go to that next level.
Yes.
But a lot of times we're selfish and we don't really want to try or work hard or to understand. So it's important that we don't just it's important that we do it, but we have to gain understanding, and that's through communication.
It is.
So we need to learn how to communicate a little
Absolutely.
better, right?
I agree with that 100%. I do. I agree with that.
Absolutely. Oh, what are some of the
then-
other? Oh, go ahead.
So even like for like words of affirmation for me, like when Steve says all of those wonderful things about me, right? When he says them, because you know I'm wonderful and stuff, you know. So when he say those wonderful things, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But on the contrary, if he were to say things that were negative, it would cut deep. Like it would cut deeper than you not paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? It would cut deeper than something that it might not affect someone else in that way. Like
Right.
if he didn't give me a compliment when I feel like I look great and he just walked past like, oh, that would hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so when you know your person's love language, you got to make sure that you constantly speaking it. That's the
Absolutely.
point. Make sure that you constantly speaking it, not just, you know, here and there. Like, speak it. Like, just like you speak English, speak their language, because it's important to them. It's important that they hear those words. It's important that they get what they need from you so that they can constantly feel love. Because if you filling up somebody's gas tank all day long with love, you gonna get love back in return.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the significance or the benefits of giving, because if you give, you'll receive.
Right.
You know, and that's important. Like they talked about my boy Miles Monroe. God bless him. He's not here with us anymore. He's deceased, but he talked about how women are multipliers.
Yeah.
You know, how they are incubators or whatever.
yeah.
How if you give a woman something, she'll give it back to you multiplied.
Right.
You know, so if you give her love, she'll give it back to you multiplied. But if you give her hell, she'll give it back to you multiplied. So that's one of the things, you know, that we need to know, like that we have needs, right? And a lot of us are focusing so much on our needs where we're neglecting our partner's needs.
Yes.
But if we be selfless and be considerate of the person and be givers and not just takers, we focus on their need, their quality time. And guess what, bro? If you need something, whatever, you need sex at the end of the night, guess what? You ain't got a bag.
Right.
Because you done spent that time with her. You know, you didn't just come in, throw her on the bed and like, you know, watch a movie like, you ready? No, she wants to watch these old Bourne shows. But that's her love language, or he wants to be built up.
Right.
To say, baby, not tore down, like, why you ain't doing this? You need to do that. He wants to know that he's doing a good job. Honey,
Right.
look, you going to work every day and you providing for us. You a great man.
Yeah.
I know you don't have everything together, but boy, are you a provider.
Yeah.
And that man like, woo wee, I like that. I like the sound of that. Baby,
Right.
and yours might be gifts. He might say, what do you want, baby? What you say? It might be quality time. Hey, you want to go out to dinner? Because he feels love.
Yeah.
And when people feel love, they give
Love. That's
they
so
give
true.
love in abundance. So we need to learn how to love more and change our paradigm to know that relationship is about giving.
And stop being
Yes,
selfish.
and stop being
And
selfish.
stop being selfish, because
Right.
what happens is we become selfish when we just want to continue to love somebody
Right.
how we want
want to
to
be
love
loved,
them.
right.
Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's selfish to think like, oh, I'm gonna keep giving her gifts. I'm gonna keep giving her gifts. But when she trying to tell you, like, I don't really dig gifts. So
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
I'm just asking for a
She
little bit
might
of
like
time.
them, right? Because we
know?
all have, the love languages
Yes.
aren't. You can have all of them. right?
We all have all of them.
Right.
There are just some that are higher on the charts
Yes,
than others.
yes.
But what I'm saying is, don't be selfish to the point where you feel like, oh man, I'm spending time with you, but she really just wants some encouragement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or he really just wants some encouragement.
Right.
Or he really just wants some acts of service. And you over here trying to give, and you out here feeling neglected because they're not receptive of your
Right.
gifts. You know what I'm saying? Or your quality time, or your words of affirmation, or whatever it is that you continue to give them that they don't need or that they don't desire. And you keep saying, well, I'm giving you this. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but that's not it. That's
Right.
not feeding me,
Right.
though.
Yeah, I don't feel that,
I don't
right.
feel that, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's selfish of us to keep doing it, though. Like, I'm just gonna keep on giving you acts of service when really you just need a word of encouragement.
Right,
I'm just
right.
gonna
Give us
I'm
some
just gonna
hearts.
keep
If you're
washing
loving
your
us, Give us some
clothes.
hearts, baby. Give us some hearts.
Like, I'm just gonna keep washing your clothes and
Yeah,
and,
right.
and hanging up your suits and putting your shoes up and
Right.
and you know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't care about that.
Right.
Like, tell me you love me.
Right. And it's crazy, baby, because you still do that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll say, babe, what do you want for our anniversary? Or what do you want for your birthday? And it really doesn't care. I don't care. It's like, that doesn't move me. Like, gifts do not move me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll say something like, can you buy me something for my business?
Right.
Or something that could better our soul quality. That's what makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But certain things do not move certain people. So we can't force feed
Right.
people.
That's good,
We
baby.
can't force feed them. Like, for instance, if we had two different types of cake and you love chocolate cake and your husband or your partner like strawberry, and you like, look, you don't like this chocolate cake? And he's like, no, and you're just trying to get it. What
I
you
don't
mean?
know why it's
you need this
good.
chocolate cake. And he's like, look, that's not a part of my taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a part of my palate.
Right.
So we can't force feed people. We can't, so we have to learn, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you guys a tip about men. And we actually had this conversation, babe, the other day concerning how we dumb men down. And I know a
Ooh,
lot of men
I hate that.
A lot of men love languages are quality time, and physical touch.
Yeah.
And don't think that a man just wants sex.
Listen.
Although we are sexual beings and we love sex, of course. We biologically we were created. We develop millions of sperm cells, and that's what we plant seeds. So that's a part of our DNA. However, men want to feel special too.
They do.
Men want to be touched.
Yes.
We like affection. We want, we're not just these hard legs,
Yeah.
as if we have no souls or as if we don't need quality time or need to be built up. We are human beings just like women, right?
Babe, seriously, like, we had this conversation the other day because you hear so many women always be like, men only need sex and food. That's all they
Yeah,
need. And
yeah.
they be like, I'm sorry. I don't know what man,
Shallow, man.
like what man you dealing with, but
Right.
don't dumb men
Boys.
down. Yes, you little boys.
Right.
Don't dumb men down to just sex and food, because men enjoy a lot of other things.
Right.
And you can stimulate a man intellectually
Yes.
better than you can stimulate, and your bedroom will be stimulated even more if you can have a good conversation
Yeah.
with him. So
Right.
don't just dumb men down to just sex and food. There's so much more
Right.
than just those two things. And a lot of times as women, we think, because that's what we've been told,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the only thing men care about. And that is not the only
Absolutely
thing
false.
men care about. Like
Right.
that's just not true. Like they care a whole lot about sex. I
Right.
mean a whole lot about sex. They need
A
it,
little sex, baby.
but that's not the totality of a man. Like
Yes.
that's just not it.
Right.
And women, we think like, because we can back it up or something like that, we drop it like it's hot on them, that satisfies everything. That, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That satisfies everything that he needs, and it doesn't. You know, you leave him out here empty, and then he feeling unloved. He feels satisfied in the bedroom,
Yeah.
but he out here feeling unloved because your mouth is disrespectful. You out here, you know what I'm saying? You're not treating him the way he wants to be treated, or the way
Right.
he feels or receives love. You're not affirming him. You're not building him up. You're not saying, baby, you doing a great job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Men need to hear those things too. They need a pat on the back just as much as we need a pat on the back.
Absolutely.
And sometimes as women, we only think they just need sex
Right.
and food.
Right. It takes more for us to function. And I just got to stop for a minute. My mama's on here. She said, "That's my son. I love you. Talk that talk, baby.
Lord.
I'm going to talk that.
Shut
I'm
up.
going to talk it."
Shut up.
What's up, Ma? What's up, Ma? Yeah, absolutely. So if you think that this is beneficial, give us some hearts,
Let's
y'all.
check out some of these
let's-
comments though, because
we have
haven't.
a few love languages that people actually put up here, which is I think that's pretty good. Let's see. Let me go down here on these comments, and we try to engage as much as we can, guys. So we're not trying to overlook you. But
David said words of affirmation is top for him.
okay, words of affirmation.
Yeah. Because sometimes you do.
Yes.
You need that pat on the back. Like, keep going. I see you. You're doing such a
Right.
great job. Like, you're amazing. I can't
Yeah.
believe how well you are doing. I knew you could do it, but you just proven me, you know, to be... To not have even known you could do just as much as you've done. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's important. So many people need words of affirmation. We need that extra pep talk to say, hey, baby, you got this.
Right.
know?
Look what Benita said. She need all of them.
Yes.
You
But
know.
Nita, we do though. We do need all of them, but there are ones that are that top,
Right.
you
right.
know.
And please, if you have not taken that test, go to the 5 love languages quiz. You can Google it and take that assessment. It's very easy. It'll take a few minutes, and you actually learn a little bit about yourself. Because some people don't know. They know that they have these particular needs, but they might not know how to communicate it effectively. And this kind of put everything in perspective. So check it out there.
Yeah.
And we have Ashley here, babe. Let's look what Ashley said.
Ashley said her love language is quality time.
Quality time.
Yep, that's awesome. Like learning what your love language
as
is
well.
makes
And
it
service.
so much easier to convey it to your spouse because they don't have to guess.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you'll know, like, if that person isn't willing to give you that, then maybe you can think, if you're not married,
Right.
you can, if it's a deal breaker for you, then you can think about that before you say I do, right?
Right.
Because sometimes
Yes.
some things are true deal breakers, like not being able to spend quality time with somebody, not being able to be affirmed in a relationship. That might be a deal breaker for me.
Right.
You know, that might be a deal breaker for you moving forward. And if you can't get it, you might be able to say early on, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's important. Like Devon said here, he said quality time and conversation. And that's the same with me, Devon. Although the category would probably be quality time, but it's really spending time so that we can converse.
Yep.
You know, that makes me feel good. You know, and not just like women can converse about pretty much anything, about like what's going on,
Anything.
girl, on the job, you know what I'm saying? And they just want to be heard. They don't really
We just want to
come
talk.
to a resolve. They
No,
just
no,
want
we
you
just
to
want
hear.
to. We
Right, you
don't
wanna
want to
talk.
have a conversation.
Right.
We just want to talk. Like that's
Right.
it. Like I enjoy talking.
Yes.
Like I don't want to resolve anything when I'm talking with my girlfriends. We just
like
having a
to
good
talk.
time talking.
Right,
Like
right.
girl, like yes, girl, I know. Like did you hear? Yes, honey, yes. Like I don't need you to be resolving no issues for
Yeah,
us.
but men, like, especially like Devon, you know, if you want to connect on the intellectual level,
Yes.
or at least on, you know, to do some planning or just to connect souls, you know, to connect just the whole man, you know what I'm saying? And not just to be next to you, but we like to connect. And I think like we said earlier, a lot of times we downplay or we dumb men down, but we are smarter than you think.
Yes.
We're not just we're just not a penis. We're not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're not just a penis walking looking for a squirrel trying to get a nut.
Right.
We actually do like to spend time and like to be touched sometimes and like to be affirmed. We like gifts sometimes. So it's important. And I know I keep stressing it, but it's very important in our relationship that we deal with our spouses according to knowledge, like the good book says. So how could you speak a language if you don't practice it? Or how could you speak a language if you don't even know that it's a language or even exist?
Right.
So we need to converse and have these talks, and do these audits on our relationship. So if you're out there and things aren't really working, sit down sometimes. We argue and talk about each other. We fuss and bicker and we have a lot of drama. Why not use some of that energy and sit down and say, babe, what needs do you have?
Right.
What is your love language?
Right.
What could I do better?
What could I do better?
How could we team up against these issues that we're having to overcome?
Yeah.
Because in a relationship, it isn't you on the same team.
I was just about to say that.
So we need to learn not how to be right, but to get true results.
Right.
And a lot of people have so much pride and we're stubborn. I have my moments. You have your moments. However, we need to be mature and learn how to communicate and say, you know what? We are having a problem.
Yep.
We know that there's a problem. And number two, let's identify that. Number three, how could we actually fix that? So we need to stop dumbing down our relationship, because if we get together and we can do great things, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And I think people, we get married and feel that that's it,
Yeah.
but God created you to do great things together. But you got to be partners and we got to be mature. So there are different levels to a lot of things, but sometimes we just settle for these mediocre relationships to where, we get married, we have babies, we get a career, and that's it.
And that's it.
No, you can go beyond that. You can have a wonderful time and not just go to Bahamas and fight all day. Don't you want to go to the Bahamas and actually love one another and have a good time?
Have a good time,
and meet
spending time with each
one
other?
another needs, not just to get on there to put pictures on Facebook,
Right.
but you actually want to invest in your relationship and know that the roots that you put in that moment is going to sustain you as you get older.
Yeah.
And it's going to really demonstrate or help you to see that you guys really love one another.
Yeah, I agree
right?
with that 100%.
Right. So I know it's getting late, babe, but what else we got here?
So what is the next love language we are going over?
Oh, before you do that, we got Shauna says quality time and acts of service.
Yeah.
Awesome. Denise says say that. We saying it, Denise. We gonna keep saying that. If y'all keep watching, we gonna keep saying it.
Listen, you
Yeah.
guys have no idea. Like we are really just we're talking, but all of our notes are on Steve's computer,
Yep.
and we are having like really bad technical difficulties.
The screen keep going out.
Everything is going out, so we're just talking.
Yes.
Like literally, we're just talking.
Yeah.
So like
if
our
you see
notes
me pick a
are
booger
gone.
out my nose or
They are
something,
all of our notes are connected here. One screen, two screen,
Yeah.
three screen, and they all gone.
Yeah, it's
So if
crazy.
we be like,
They're
oh,
going
what
in
is
and
it?
out,
They
right.
can keep going in and out. So we gotta try to catch our
Right.
points as we go. Okay.
So we're not trying to miss you guys. We're just having a good time, right? We're having a
Yes.
good conversation. How many more do we have? About
We
three
got
more?
three more. We got
Yeah,
three
so
more.
let's
So
go
let's
through
go
these,
over the next
we
one.
want to be done by 8:30 and let these kiddos go to bed because they got to get up real early.
So
right?
acts of service.
Yes.
This love language expresses itself by doing things that you know your spouse would like. Cooking a meal, doing the laundry.
What'd you say? Cooking a meal?
Cooking a meal.
Ladies, listen to this. A lot of men have that language. Go ahead.
Cooking a meal.
Right.
Yep. Doing the laundry and picking up a prescription are all acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
They require some thought, time, and effort. Yes. Some
Right.
thought, time, and effort.
And all this time, women, I don't want to say all women,
Mm-hmm.
but all this time, we have a negative connotation, or we think negatively when a man feels that he wants to be served. Mm-hmm. It's not that the man is trying to dominate you or feel like you need to be in the kitchen, but a lot of men have mothers that cook for them.
Yes.
So their love language was developed by their upbringing. So they adopted this language, and that's what makes them happy.
Yep.
So your man isn't always trying to dominate you or feel that you need to be a slave to do this and do that. He actually feel love when you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people do, though. You know, it a lot for men, of course, right?
Yes.
Because, like you said, they grew up with moms that, you know, prepared their food, that, you know, washed their clothes, that, you
Yes.
know, took care of the home, and all of those things are acts of service. And so a lot of times, you know, as women, we like, you ain't marrying your mama, but we really do sign up for that portion of the job
Right.
when we take him on.
Yes.
And it is important. It is important to a lot of men. Even though, you know, men can also wash clothes, they
Right,
can also
right.
cook. It's not to say that that's just the only thing that men like, but that is for a lot of men a love language that they enjoy, because they enjoy acts of service. You know, like Steve would do things for me like in acts of service, and I would be like, dang, no.
That ain't
I'm
hidden.
sorry. You picking up the socks and the shoe. They're yours anyway. Like,
Right.
so you should pick them up.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not happy. It's like a little bit like, look at me. I picked up the stuff. Look at me. I washed the dishes after you cooked. And I'm like, good for you.
Ugh.
You know, like you should have. So that doesn't move me, right? It doesn't
Right.
move. It's helpful. It's helpful than a mug, but
Yes.
it doesn't move me.
Did you just say than a mug?
Yeah, it's helpful
All right.
than a mug.
Look,
yeah.
date night, we use ebonics and all that, so don't judge us.
Shut up. It's helpful, right? It is. It's very helpful, but it
Right.
doesn't move me. It doesn't
Right.
make me feel loved, okay? It doesn't make me feel like anything. It's like, thank God somebody did the dishes and I didn't have to do them, okay? But for him, that might make him feel loved. For your husband or your spouse or your significant other, whatever, that might make them feel loved.
Right.
That might make them feel, you know, appreciated.
Yes.
You know, we have to look at it like that. Like, it's not, oh, he just want me to clean up after him. No, that genuinely makes him feel loved, that you
Right.
care for him, that you're domesticated. Some men really feel love through that. Some women really feel love through that. You know, and so if that's your spouse's love language, be sure to
Or your partner.
yeah, or your
right?
partner. Yeah, if that's your spouse's love language, give it to them.
Yes.
You know, don't deny them of that. Don't neglect them
Right.
in that arena. You know, maybe you can wash the clothes and they can put them up. I don't know. Maybe you can cook dinner and they can wash the dishes. But just remember that, you know, acts of service is a real love language for a
is.
lot of people. And just because it isn't our love language, it doesn't mean it isn't theirs, and we have to be willing to give it to them.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, you ever heard the statement or quote, now you're talking? And that's when you do things that's how they feel. Like, now you're talking. Now the deeds or the acts that you're applying makes me feel loved. Like you said, you go to work. Yes, I feel love to a certain extent. Or you might take care of the kids or whatever it is, or the things, you know, the primary things that we do, the general things that, you know, in a household to sustain it, to maintain what we have. But when you do things that, when you speak our language, it's a different level.
Yes.
You know, it actually it's a button, it's a trigger.
It is.
You know, just like people can push your buttons and piss you off, you know, those love languages turn us on. So if you just imagine if you just keep on clicking that thing like a video game. You ever remember back in the day they play a video game and they
Yes.
hitting that button just to run faster? You ever did that? I had this on the game I had this meme, like some people had two hands, I had the finger out. You run faster or you can hit.
Really?
No, but
Look,
you do
but
that.
I love,
it really
I love
helps.
what Helen said.
Let's see here. Let me put it on the screen here.
So Helen says, I stopped cooking 6 years ago. He does the cooking, and it is you got to get it over the cursor. Yeah. It is the best feeling as a wife. Gosh, I love it. Helen, same here. Like sometimes the roles sometimes change and it does feel good.
Right.
If somebody else can do something that you are used to doing, and it's like, oh, I kind of do like this. Oh, I kind of do. Oh, this is nice. Somebody doing
Right.
something for me. That's nice. Steve has been doing the cooking for the last, about a year now?
Not like real cooking.
Not real
Like-
cooking,
like
but I
lunch,
mean, it's,
you know what I'm saying?
it's
Some
lunch. I will
eggs,
take it. I will take
below-
it. I cooked for
bowl
13 and a half
bowl of
years.
hot dog.
I don't care what it is.
Right,
Just so I don't
right.
have to do it. It's great. Okay.
Yes.
It is not my top love language, but helping out. So acts of service is number 3 for me. So I have quality time, words of affirmation, and then acts of service.
Right.
Those are all of those were very high for me. They were kind of like bam, bam, bam. And then like gifts was like 3%.
Do you think that it changed
Something like
throughout? Do you think that yours actually changed?
Yes, mine's changed throughout the years. And I'm going to say why mine's changed throughout the years. Acts of service changed for me throughout the years because I was the one who always washed the clothes. I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 and a half years. I was always the one who cooked. I was always the one who cleaned. I was always the one who, who did everything around the house, who was domesticated. Steve is amazingly domesticated in like cleaning and stuff like that. But I couldn't count on him to like wash the clothes or cook or anything like that. And not that I was asking him to, but when I went back to work and he had to help out with certain things, it actually felt good when I came home to see things were done that would not have necessarily been done
If you wouldn't have done it.
if I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
And it felt nice. And I didn't know that was a love language of mine until that need started being met. And I was like, oh, I like that.
Right.
Putting the dishes away feels good because sometimes we just so used to just doing stuff. I get it. Don't worry about it. But it felt good when he started doing it. And so now acts of service is my number 3. And I actually truly enjoy him making lunch. I don't care if it's a sandwich. I don't care what it is, as long as I don't have to do it. I think that for me, it's changed over the years. My love languages have changed throughout the years because we're ever evolving, right? We're ever evolving people. And so over the years, my love language has gone through a ringer, a cycle of 2.
Right. And when you have children,
3.
when you get older, the dynamics of your relationship probably change a little bit. So things will change.
But like you said, dwelling with your spouse according to knowledge
yes,
is so important because you will know, like, oh, my wife don't really like that no more. She's not really being moved by that. So let me see what it is that she likes. Or if y'all, if y'all connected like that, then that person is share with you. Like, I'm not really feeling that no more. I'm really kind of liking this. You just got to pay attention to the nuggets people drop.
Right. But that takes you being invested into your relationship.
Yeah.
And unfortunately we have people, and we all can be selfish. We can all have our
Absolutely.
moments to where we kind of feel like it's about us, or we focus on the things that we need done as opposed to focusing on the things that we could do.
Right.
So it's important that we do adopt this 4-letter word, and it's care.
Yeah.
And if you're not the caring type, and I hate to say that because I don't want to say the caring type, but the person that's a little lazy.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to be intentional. So if you know that your spouse has the language of gifts, plan it out. Like, what? I know her anniversary's coming up. What? I know she like gifts. She's been looking at this. She's been looking at that. Screenshot that. And that's what happened. Remember, like when you cried, for those that are just getting on this show, I talked about how I discovered my wife's love language, or a need in that season of her life, by her crying and by me feeling embarrassed because I did not know. And it wasn't purpose. I didn't do it purposely.
Yeah.
I didn't neglect her on purpose, but it wasn't a part of my native tongue. I didn't understand the language.
Right.
But after that, everywhere we went, I was like taking pictures. She say, "Oh, I like those heels." I'm up in there with my little cheap phone, just pop, pop, pop. And I'll say, "Send me something. What else you looking at?" And I'll see what she bookmarked, on the computer and things like that. And then I was able to get her or fulfill that particular need or speak that language. However, I did kind of slack. I will be honest, but I have to be more intentional. And that's one of the points that I really want to push, is that if you're not, if that's not your natural thought, or if that's not your language, we have to learn how to be intentional.
Yeah.
And you have to plan ahead or block time to fulfill the need or speak the language that your spouse actually has.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so true. Yeah, it is. It is about being intentional, because a lot of the times, we don't think about certain things, and that's okay that we're not necessarily thinking about those things. But when you're intentional, you take mental notes.
Right.
You know, when you're intentional, like Steve said, he took pictures. He would look at what my bookmarks were. He would look at the things that I desired. He would look at those things and pay attention to those things. It was about him being intentional, especially knowing what that love language was at the time for me. You know, he took a massive leap to be intentional, and I appreciated that.
And it was tough. I mean, especially when you're not the romantic type, or if you were not wired that way, you know, you have to actually learn.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep, that's so true. It is. It's very true. I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. It did make me feel very loved and appreciated when you started to do those things, because for a while you didn't do them.
But I would say that I love you.
Y'all didn't even want to hear what Steve told me one time. Do y'all want to hear it?
Nah.
Y'all want to hear it? Y'all want to hear what Steve told me for Mother's Day one year? Steve was like, "You ain't my mama. Like, why would I get you a gift?"
No, see, that ain't right. Like, you got to give context. You can't just, that ain't true, guys. Look, those that know
it's true,
me,
y'all.
it was not, you got to give context.
It's true, y'all. It is true, y'all.
It was not like that.
He was like, we was driving down Wayne Road, getting ready to pass Chase Bank, okay, right there at Central City Parkway. And I was like, so where's my Mother's Day gift? We had one child at the time, okay? She was probably like 6 months old. This fool was like, I mean, like, I didn't, like, why would I get, I didn't get, why would I get you?
You got to give context.
I mean,
this
like,
is so unfair.
I mean, like, you not my mama? Like, we better go see my mama, right? I said, I'm not your mama, but I had your child, and she can't go to the store and get no car herself.
You are painting such an unfair picture.
I was in that car like, I'm going to knock you.
She's not giving context, y'all. It was not, it did not go down like that.
You ain't my mama.
You just, what you're doing, you're giving.
You're not my mama, sweetheart. I love you.
Oh,
you, my dear.
You ain't my mama, what's the other love language?
You wasn't my mama, though. You didn't have me. So why would I be buying you a Mother's Day?
That ain't Crystal talking about. I remember that.
Crystal, you see? I ain't lying.
We've been married 15 years, y'all.
And on year 1, he was like, Mother's Day gift.
Been there, too.
A Mother's like,
but man, you
Mother's
gotta,
Day gift for
I
you.
feel like this. Look, you got to get context, and you got to be fair.
Baby, oh,
like, you
context.
Can't be. I don't even want to get into it.
Y'all, it was context. y'all get what I'm saying? He told me I wasn't his mama. That's what he told me.
Anyway, okay, I accept my part in that, but it was more to that.
Crystal.
Yes. What else is here?
Crystal.
What else is there? We got to move on.
All right.
It's almost 8:30, and you hating on me right now. All right, but let's move on.
All right, so physical touch. Physical touch is your partner's primary love language. If they feel, they will, if it,
not sexual touch.
Nope, physical touch.
Physical touch. Mm-hmm.
Touch is your partner's primary love language. They will feel unloved without physical contact. All the words and gifts in the world won't change that. They want to feel close by, not just emotionally, but physically. So my thing is with physical touch, because a lot of people think, right? Men, right? A lot of y'all think, oh yeah, my wife love physical touch. I'm gonna just go on and hump her real quick, grab on her booty real quick, grab some titties real quick. Yeah, she like that.
You just said we can't say titties on here.
She don't like that.
It's PG.
She don't like that though. Like, don't do that, okay? That's not what she talking about.
No, we can't just give you a massage without going
you
a
can't,
little further. If you want to touch, I'll touch you, girl. Or you want to touch?
Physical shut up.
Yeah, you want to do?
Physical touch is not that.
I'll touch you.
Like, physical touch is not that. Physical touch is holding hands. You know, kissing hello in the morning. You know, public display of affection, like PG. Like, physical touch is all of those things. Hugging her from behind. For a man, physical touch is
now,
just,
you see what she's saying?
Rubbing.
How that translate with me? Hugging from behind?
Shut up.
You want me to hug you
kissing
from
her
behind?
on the forehead, or kissing him on the forehead,
Yes.
or,
Yes.
you know,
Understood.
rubbing, you know, holding hands, just loving on one another.
Right.
It's not sexual. Like, it can lead to sexual.
Oh, it's gonna lead.
Something sexual. But physical touch is not that. People that need to be physical.
Something happening after.
The people that need physical touch really need to be touched.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do.
Right.
I have a affectionate child.
Yes, very,
and she
very.
needs to be touched. She needs to be coddled. She needs to be loved. She needs to be embraced. And those things are important to her.
Speaking of her, it's her 10th
It is
birthday
her
today,
10th
and she is
birthday.
Paige. I'm gonna call her down, so you got to give her some love in a minute, okay? Go ahead.
But that's what physical touch is. And a lot of times, you know, we think physical touch is let me get it on. But no, ain't nobody trying to bone right now.
Babe, we gotta
You
stop
know,
using these words like
we-
bone and stuff like that.
nobody-
Because how are we gonna have a diverse
Nobody trying to
date night if we're using ebonics
nobody-
of words that they can't
Everybody
understand.
know what them words mean.
Get down, do it.
That's what you said.
Get down on
Listen.
it. Get down on it.
But people need to be touched.
Yes.
And we have to touch people without the expectation of it being
Ooh-wee.
sexual.
And that's tough.
That's the thing.
That's why
Like-
you got to do it like at noon. You know,
What's wrong? You can't
you
have
gotta
sex
have
at noon?
yeah, no, you can, but you got to do it like when it ain't at night,
Shut up.
and you can't have like tight pants on with it. You gotta have on like a whole like Mormon dress,
A Mormon dress. You
like your
gotta have a
head
Mormon
covered
dress.
and everything.
Yes.
But we'll find a way. It don't even matter.
Listen.
Anyway, go ahead.
But people have we have to be considerate of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have to consider the fact that just because someone loves physical touch and that's how they feel loved,
Right.
doesn't mean that they want to be intimate at that time. It just means they want to be touched.
Yeah.
That's important. We grown. That's right, Denise. Tell him to stop tripping. We all know what bone is. I'm trying to say it nicely. I ain't got no other words up there.
Valencia
listen.
said night is the best.
Hey,
But
when I
Grandma-
was younger, Valencia, when I was younger, I thought you could only have sex at night. I thought like that was the only time people were supposed to have sex. Was at
At night.
I would be like, oh no, it ain't
for
nighttime.
Y'all married
it,
folks.
it
that
ain't
morning,
nighttime.
That morning, that's another date night. That morning, boy.
I was like, it ain't
I
nighttime.
think we had all our kids in the morning.
I used to be like, it ain't nighttime. We can't do it right now. It ain't nighttime. Can't do that. Only do that at night.
right.
But yeah, but physical touch is a real thing, and if you neglect to love your spouse that desires physical touch, in the way that they want to be loved, then you leave them out there vulnerable and feeling disconnected.
Yes, and physical touch is very significant.
It
I
is.
think that because a lot of people deal with, neglect, abandonment,
yeah.
a lot of pain. Unfortunately, people go through a lot of trauma when they're younger. And some people, I know at least in our community, when you don't have a mother and a father and a mom is out, being a breadwinner, it's hard for her to be affectionate toward her daughters or
Yeah.
sons. And she's a little more harder on her daughter because she know that it's tough out there and might love the son, a little more, not love them, but apply physical touch more.
Yeah.
And then the woman grow up feeling unloved,
Yeah.
so we got to learn how to touch and be intentional. And it's not just a want, it's an actual need.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about earlier. So we can't disregard these things because people are actually breaking up
Yeah.
and getting divorced because of these love languages because they're not being met.
Because they're not
So,
being met, yeah.
And it goes back to caring.
Yeah.
It goes back to consideration. It goes back to actually wanting that person to feel love, not
Yeah.
just for you to hear them say, not just to say it to them, but to actually demonstrate it through your deeds and your actions.
Right. Yeah, that's good
Right.
stuff, baby. That's
right.
good
And
stuff.
not from a head, not loving from the head, but from the heart, the emotions, to where people embody, to where you walk into the house and know that person actually love you. And when
Yeah.
you know somebody loves you, you feel secure. You feel
Man, you feel
rooted.
safe.
You feel safe, and you feel
Gosh.
like this is home. So we
Yeah.
got to learn how to practice that, y'all.
Yep.
So if we've been devaluing our spouses or our partners or girlfriend and future husbands and wives or partners or whatever you want to define it, if we've been neglecting their languages or their needs,
Yeah.
we need to really stop doing that.
Yeah.
And we need to be more selfless and as opposed to being selfish, because a lot of times we are selfish, and we know the world, it's a lot going on, but we have to be intentional, right?
And
You
we
gotta
have
learn,
to
right?
and we have to learn to speak up too. Because a lot of times, we talked about this before, a lot of times women, we think that the man, he can read our thoughts, and he knows what's going on, and he knows how we feel, and he doesn't. You know, same thing with men. Like, we don't know how you feel. I don't know what's going on in your brain until you tell me.
Right.
You know, I might have some inkling of what's going on, but I don't know until you actually convey that message to me. So as women, don't think like, oh, he should know me. He should know I need this. Honey, if that's how you feel, your needs are never going to be met, and you are always going to be mad.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then y'all gonna probably get, you know, a divorce or split up or move out or whatever it is you do, that's probably gonna happen because you have this unrealistic expectation that he's supposed to meet a need that you never conveyed.
Right.
You know, or that she's supposed to meet a need that you never conveyed. Like, so we have to be intentional in our communication when it comes to our spouse, letting them know exactly what we need. It's okay to be like, honey, you know, I really love it when you say this.
Right.
I really love it when you do this. You know, it makes me feel like this when you do this. It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel appreciated. I really love when you pick your dirty socks up. You know what I'm saying? I really love when you can bring your own clothes downstairs and put them in the washer sometimes. You know? I really love when you come get the groceries out the car, or when you know, or I really love when you tell me how beautiful I am, or you tell me how wonderful of a job I have done, or we have to be intentional in expressing those things to the other person so that they know that that's what you need.
And that shows that you're invested. You know, a lot of times we stop, we get married, we have kids, we get our careers, then we stop. But don't you want to grow? Don't you want to take your relationship to higher heights, like they say, or deeper depths, or to connect more on just a sexual level or financial level, but actually want to be stimulated mentally, you know, connect soul to soul and just really enjoy this journey? Because why be with somebody for 50, 40 years and you don't really enjoy them, or you're not really trying to fulfill their needs or become one? Because that's the key word, becoming. It's a whole process. But the way that we become one is by really being considerate and investing the necessary time, effort, education, whatever we need into our relationship so that we can actually have an awesome relationship. But it takes a person to be mature to understand that, you know.
And the bottom line is, if you don't learn it with this person, you have to learn it again with someone else. And it's going to be something different. You know what I mean? And here's the thing too. We have to remember that, like, it's not that person's problem, or it's that he just want me to do this. It's going to always be something that you have to do for somebody in order for them to feel loved. So if it don't work here, you're going to go to have another relationship and you're going to find the same problem because you refuse to speak the language. Right. You know? Right. And it's like, learn to speak the language of the person that you actually love and want to do life with, so that it makes life a whole lot easier.
Right. Isn't it worth it? If you're going to be with them, why not get the best out of them?
Just be miserable
because guess
for no
what?
reason.
When you give, a woman gives back multiplied. When you give a man, when you affirm him, when you build him up, when he knows that he's the man, you know, you get so much more. You know, we can't look at each other as objects or feel like we have to do or you need to do. But we got to find out creative ways to make things better, right? Denise said communication is the key. Absolutely. Absolutely is. Our screen it's crazy how we having technical issues today.
That is
Our
crazy.
screen
We
keep
never
on going
had
out and
technical
stuff like
issues.
that. But we
It's
being
just
cool,
blacking out.
calm, and collected. But here we have Helen. It just came back on. Oh yes, your marriage and relationship should be your best investment.
Your very best
in every
investment.
area. Absolutely.
Your very best
Absolutely.
investment.
Bonita said this was a great show. I'm
Thank
going to
you,
look up that quiz.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bonita, do the quiz.
Yes.
We encourage everyone to do the quiz. You can also have your children do the quiz.
Yes.
So
And
that
if you're single too,
Yep. And if you're single, you can do the quiz. Like, everyone can do the quiz because it's not just a relationship thing. It's a person thing.
Right.
It's a human thing that everybody has a language where they feel truly loved. Okay.
Right.
So I would encourage you to sit down with your family and everybody take it, because that way you're loving your children the way they desire to be loved. Because a lot of times we really feel like I'm loving y'all, you know, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm paying the bills, I'm this, I'm that, you know, and really all our children want is our undivided attention.
Right.
You know, put the phone down, mommy. Can we talk? Can we sit here? Can you hug me for a little bit? Or sometimes it's what our spouse needs. So if we do the quiz, we'll know exactly how each individual needs to be loved. And I think it's so beneficial to us as people.
Oh, I wanna be the one to hold you close.